About 60 Oklahomans are serving a year-long deployment in Iraq as part of Bravo Company within the 2nd 285th National Guard Unit.
Well, when I was embedded with those soldiers, Craig, the one thing that really stood out to me is how much they miss of their families' lives. I mean, they're gone for a year. So tonight we're going to look at some of the sacrifices made by our Oklahomans on the war front. These tough, disciplined soldiers look danger in the eye and don't blink. They possess a courage and toughness most of us will never know. They do what is asked of them, despite the risk, to accomplish their mission. But ask them about family, and their eyes water, and their voices quiver.
The hardest part is just being away from my family. I miss my husband.
But the more they make it seem like home, sometimes it's the more you miss it.
Madison, make sure you get our fishing poles ready. I can't do this. I can't.
10 babies have been born to the Oklahoma soldiers while they've been on deployment. Riley Hall, Chloe Moss, Juliana and Jenica Henderson, Samantha Sappington, Cadence Addington, Madeline Welsh, Millie Franks, Hudson McNann, and Noah Rutledge. We met Noah's dad, Chase Rutledge, while in Iraq and learned he's a bit of a cut-up.
We're safe. No, we're safe.
Chase is a pilot both in Iraq and back home, and when we met him, Noah's birth was still a few weeks away.
I have a beautiful wife who is incredibly pregnant.
Each soldier is allowed to go home for one-time life events during deployment. We caught up with Chase when he arrived in Oklahoma at the airport, his 3 older children eager to hug him. He hasn't kissed his wife or held his children in 5 months.
My gosh, you've grown.
Even though he's home for a joyous event, some soldiers aren't so fortunate because a lot happens in the span of a year. Not just celebrations, but also crises. Not just births, but also deaths.
One of them had lost a brother, and another one whose brother was dying, and then another young specialist who lost his 2-year-old son who drowned, and I mean that's a humbling thought.
That's why Army families supporting one another is so important. Tiffany Hemmert is married to the commander of Bravo Company, and she heads the family readiness group. Those left at home during deployments also make great sacrifices. Becoming single parents, doing double duty, making it through birthdays, holidays, graduations, and everyday emergencies alone. Plus, loving someone a world away in a war zone.
You can talk to your soldier as much as you want, but the worry never goes away, ever. We all know what they're doing. We all know why they're there. They can tell us all day long that they're not in harm's way and, you know, they've had a day off, but that doesn't stop us from worrying at all. So, you know, the worrying is the hardest part. But then going to bed at night all alone, you know, that's really hard.
And of course, the soldiers all told us the hardest part of serving their country is not leaving their jobs here for a year or living in harsh conditions or working long hours or giving up basic comforts. It's being away from those they love. And of course, those families have great pride in those men. Now, if you would like to send a message of support to the soldiers, we have provided a venue for that at newson6.com. And if you would like to show even more support, donate to Blue Star Mothers because they send much appreciated goodie packages to those soldiers. And Craig, of course, I want to thank Bravo Company for letting us come to Iraq. And we would love to cover every single Oklahoman in every service, branch of the service, but we just can't get to them all. But it was quite an experience.
Can you imagine, I mean, just seeing a baby for the first time, or the kids change so much.
Missing their first words, missing their walks, their steps. And it's a lot. It's a sacrifice. We owe them.
We owe them a lot, don't we?